So 6.
In recent years, we've seen players climb as potential top 10 players of all time, such as Curry and Durant, but it's time we reflect back and remind ourselves with context why they may have to climb higher than what was initially thought to be enough. Julius Erving had one of the most underrated careers in all of basketball history, as he played in both the NBA and ABA but made his mark in both leagues. Nobody should hold Erving's early prime in the ABA against him. After all, it was the NBA that merged with the ABA.
In 1976, 4 teams from the ABA joined the NBA. And after 3 years with the Nets, Dr. J was acquired by the Philadelphia 76ers.
I'm no longer a New York Net, I'm a Philadelphia 76er, and everyone else as well as myself might as well get used to it.
The whole town was going crazy. We getting a doctor, we getting a doctor. All of Philadelphia was going crazy. Little kids on the playground, even in church they was talking about it.
When Doc came, that like almost knocked me off, knocked me off my blocks. You got Doc, the doctor. Now this is the playground legend.
Without question, without any doubt, the absolute greatest forward that has ever put on a pair of basketball shoes.
He was, in the ABA, the symbol of the league.
Driving to the lane, up into the air, the shot looks good, it is!
He wasn't just its biggest star, he was the league to those outside the ABA. He gave his team credibility. He gave the league credibility and an identity.
And that sends everyone reeling. Julius Erving!
The burden of carrying the league fell squarely on Erving's shoulders, but it was one he was happy to bear.
If you see him somewhere, he would talk to you about, we need to stick together as a league, things are tough, let's act professional, let's keep this thing going. He loved the ABA.
He would never ask out, never take a day off, because he knew we were going to play someplace that the majority of the people that were coming to that arena were coming to see Doc play.
He was the face of the ABA, and almost every place you played, he became a cult figure. We've got to see the doctor's in town.
Julius had worked so hard to ensure the ABA's survival, but in the end, he would also seal its fate.
He was responsible for the merger. I mean, let's face it, that was no question about that. The NBA wanted Julius. He was the reason there was a consolidation.
When he came over to the NBA, he was used in every town he went to. They had a press conference before the game. And so he was not only the symbol for the ABA, he became the symbol for the NBA.
He really kind of transformed from the wild afro to really the kind of the Wall Street, Madison Avenue guy, very sophisticated and, conservative-looking guy.
Erving adapted to fit into a new league, but ultimately, it was the NBA that changed because of him.
Julius Erving's accumulated basketball career is legendary, as he's 8th all-time in NBA/ABA career points. He even won MVPs in both leagues, winning MVPs in the ABA and then an NBA MVP in 1981. He was far from simply an ABA superstar. He proved not only were some of the greatest basketball players hidden and playing in the ABA, but that they can compete against the NBA's best and even win the awards once they're in the same league. In the history of basketball, this proves just how great some of these ABA players were, especially Dr. J in the NBA. Erving also won 2 NBA All-Star MVPs. With such a historic and illustrious career spanning 2 leagues that combined and made up the NBA we see today, why isn't Erving renowned as a certified top 10 player all time? One reason, maybe the same reason, many refused to consider Curry recently, and that was due to the lack of finals MVPs. For Curry, the discussions were centered around his 2 MVPs and then 4 championships, but that elusive finals MVP is what was missing, and eventually solidified his name into that conversation once he won it. Similarly, many on first glance would be quick to exclude Erving, who despite 4 MVPs, 3 ABA MVPs, and an NBA MVP, 3 championships, 2 ABA championships, and an NBA championship, may appear to be missing that elusive finals MVP. But with historical context, it's clear Erving was never missing the award. It was simply lost in time. Throughout Erving's career, he had to prove his greatness, especially to the new NBA audience that didn't see his ABA greatness. Despite his ABA MVPs and ABA championships, he made it a point to win the NBA MVP, and he did early, but it took many years and 3 NBA Finals losses to finally win that elusive NBA championship. Some doubters would then critique that he didn't win the NBA Finals MVP, though.
Sixers were favored and ready. They'd lost to the Lakers in 2 of the last 3 finals, and nothing but a championship would satisfy their fans. This was a great rematch with one major difference. The Sixers had signed free agent Moses Malone, and he was unstoppable. Nobody was denying Moses.
Even after winning an NBA championship, but in fact he actually did win the ABA equivalent of the award as well. Erving proved he could win the equivalent awards across both leagues during his career, winning MVPs from both leagues and championships from both leagues. But the only award that stayed elusive was that NBA Finals MVP award. To explain, the Finals MVP we see today is actually an NBA exclusive award, and during Erving's single NBA championship win, he was still an amazing player who averaged around 18, 8, 3 with over 1.2 steals and 2.1 blocks per game during their playoff run, but he was already 32 years old at the time, and the NBA Finals MVP had gone to his all-time great teammate Moses Malone, who was 27 years old and in his prime. But remember, prior to his NBA championship, Dr. J had won 2 ABA championships, and even though the ABA didn't hand out Finals MVP awards, they did however hand an almost identical award that seems to have been lost in history, the ABA Playoffs MVP, with the exception of the very first NBA Finals MVP, where a player from the losing team had won the award, Jerry West, in 1969. All other times, the NBA Finals MVP was given to a player that also won the NBA championship that year. In the ABA, on all occasions, the player who won the Playoffs MVP award is from the team that won the ABA championship as well. So this award is essentially identical to the NBA Finals MVP and properly rewards those legends that played during the ABA and hence missing Finals MVPs. It's only fitting that Julius Erving, who led the New York Nets to 2 ABA championships in 1974 and 1976, is the only player to win this ABA Playoffs Most Valuable Player award twice. So Julius Erving thus has 4 NBA/ABA MVPs, 3 NBA/ABA championships, and 2 Playoff/Finals MVPs. With the resume this great, it's time we properly recognize Julius Erving's contributions to the game and his all-time ranking. Ignoring the ABA Playoffs MVP is like if the Eastern Conference Finals MVP that started to be given in the 2022 NBA Conference Finals grew in prestige in the future, and in hindsight, someone will say LeBron wasn't that great for not ever winning this despite making the finals 10 times and would have had 9 Eastern Conference Finals MVPs and 1 Western Conference Finals MVP. We can't penalize Erving for not having certain awards when the award never existed in his circumstance from being in the ABA at the time. Similarly, Bill Russell should not be looked down for not having any Finals MVPs when the NBA Finals MVP only started to be given during his final season, in which he still won the NBA championship, but they gave the award to a star from the losing team, the only time such an occurrence had ever happened. As mentioned before, thanks for watching up to this point and for all the support. Just a reminder to like and subscribe. Julius Erving's legacy isn't only underrated due to the lack of credit for his playoff/finals MVPs, but especially as an all-time scorer due to his missing scoring titles. Check out my other video breaking down how Julius Erving was robbed of 3 scoring titles as well.